start off, how many of you have spent any time in industry at all? So I can kind of judge the audience.
Which industry?
Defense, the outside industry, not defense, just industry in general. All of you have work history, right? Okay. So, you're probably what, all probably have at least 5 years work experience or so, kind of in industry?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about my whole life and some of the lessons that sort of over time, maybe you don't really consciously learn, but in retrospect, 65 years later, you do have some perspective on where things are going. So that's what at least the presentation and the discussion is today. Sort of how 65 years for me evolved in a management career that I never really planned. And for some of you who kind of maybe read the book Outliers, I really do believe that life and your career in industry is all a matter of timing and circumstance. You can't plan a career. You can only take the experiential things that happen to you over that lifetime and take advantage of it when you have to seize the moment for an opportunity. So I'm going to talk about a 65-year agenda. Somebody sort of said I ought to have a chart that talks a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what formal education gives you, because that's pretty important from a ground-based basis for you to operate in industry. You need management training eventually because you got to deal with people. People are pretty important. Unless you're sort of the mad scientist and you kind of live alone, people are going to be a very large dimension of your life. You need people that care about you, and so they mentor you throughout your career. And you have to have some view of what I call experiential learning, where some of the basic things you take with you through your entire career, and you always fall back on those things in hard times. And then, of course, very late in life, probably the last 10, 15 years or so, I became convinced that it's really all about learning. That unless you are a person that wants to continuously learn, you won't succeed in this highly dynamic, highly competitive, global, international world that we live in. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about learning organizations, because learning organizations sort of are, in my mind, the precept for future success. So that's the agenda. This might seem like a little bit of history, but it really isn't. I went to a Christian military school, so I got two things out of that. A disciplined life, whether you like it or not, that's what the military side brought. I had 8 years of ROTC before I even got my college degree. And I went to a Christian school, which gives you a sense of values, and I'll talk a little bit about that a little later, because that was my dad's idea. I went to a Catholic school, and I'm not a Catholic. And I got probably one of the best educations that I could in the state of Hawaii, only because of the school and its values. So I'll talk a little bit, and I currently serve on the school board there, so I'll give you some perspective of what that brought. I have an engineering degree, but I'd like to talk about the fact that when you think about control systems, mathematics, physics, technical writing, computer science, multidisciplinary projects, economics, those are all things that can kind of help you in business. So I kind of think of an engineering education, and by the way, I think the Chinese have figured this out too. You know, you hear the stories about the Chinese have basically graduate about 100,000 engineers a year. They're not graduating 100,000 engineers, they're graduating people with good educations. And an engineering education brings you sound science and technology kind of background, brings you system analysis, and I can read a balance sheet just as well as any CFO around. You don't need differential equations, but I mean it helps to have some sense of mathematics, etc. And then the other part of my formal education, believe it or not, is I worked for IBM for 20-something years, and in the very first 3 or 4 years of my career, they had this very intense management training set of things. because you could never probably get fired for incompetence, but if you dealt with people in the wrong way in that company, you know, that was sort of like instant death. So management development was, in their minds, very important, and those are the pieces those were the elements that helped me in the very beginning of my career, gave me those fundamentals. So formal education in those two areas.